Ihr habt jetzt einige von uns sehr gut kennengelernt. Wir wollen auch euch kennenlernen. Hände hoch. Wer ist nicht aus Wien? Okay, ja, doch einige. Wer ist nicht aus Österreich? Wow. Ja, dann wisst ihr sicher auch aus eigener Erfahrung zu gut, die Reise nach Hause, zurück in die Heimat, das ist immer eine sehr emotionale Angelegenheit. Bevor der Genozid ausgebrochen ist, war die Reise zurück nach Gaza in die Heimat immer eine ganz besondere Erfahrung, die eigenen Regeln gefolgt ist. Und wir freuen uns sehr, heute Rania hier begrüßen zu dürfen mit uns, die uns diese Erfahrung ja noch schildern wird. Applaus bitte.
Hi, good evening everybody. So today I decided to talk to you about a detail in the life of a Palestinian, particularly a Palestinian from Gaza, that not so many people know, and a sort of hardship that doesn't make it often to the media, so very few people know about it, and it's the trip home. I think it's only normal that when you don't live in your home anymore, your country, you come back for visit whenever you like or whenever you can, but not for Palestinians, and especially from Gaza. And I focus only, I mean, it's in general difficult for Palestinians living outside Palestine to go home for a visit, but for Palestinians in Gaza, it's, I would say, it's 100 times more difficult. And I will tell you tonight why. So, how does it work when you want to go home? You, who your parents, your family is not in Vienna, in Austria, or in Europe, or in the rest of the world. You decide, you make the decision, it's not so difficult, I want to go home, it's holiday, I have free time. You book your ticket, or take your car, whatever, you go home, have a good time, and then come back to your life here. For me, this is a dream that has never come true until now. To be so easy to go home. Because it's a long process. It's a process to go home. First of all, I have to make the decision to go home. And it doesn't depend on my free time or holiday or if I can afford the trip, because the trip is expensive, because since Gaza has been under occupation and then for the past 17 years under siege, the only way to reach Gaza is through Egypt. So I'll have to fly to Cairo and then travel by road to Gaza. So that makes it also expensive. But that's not the issue. The decision, which is often hard to make because it depends on the political situation at home, whether it's the right time or not, and you can never know what is the right time. Whether there'll be a war, an attack, or the borders will close or remain open, you never know. So it's hard to make the decision. And because of this, I could not go home for 8 years. Every year that I wanted to go, I started the discussions and then with my family, and they would advise, no, better not, don't come. It's too risky this summer. The situation is uneasy. They might attack, they might close the borders, and then you're stuck. No, we don't want you to be stuck here. Don't come. Postpone it to the following summer, and the following summer, and then it's a full 8 years I couldn't go home. Until 2021, I decided that's it. I will not wait any longer. I don't care if the borders will be closed. I don't care if I'm going to be stuck home. I just want to go home. I want to see my parents. I want to see my family. I already lost my grandmother during these 8 years to both my grandmothers and my grandfather. My 3 brothers got and I didn't make it to the wedding, so I am going home. So I started the discussions with my family, and they were not very happy about it. Not because they didn't want to see me, but because they were worried about me. I said, that's it, I am coming home. And most Palestinians go home during the summertime because it's the best time for everybody. It's the holiday season, and it's a time when I can spend the most time with my nephews and nieces because they're on holiday. But that means it's also much more expensive and much more difficult because thousands of people will be traveling the same direction at the same time. So I took the decision, and after taking the decision, I have to start the emotional preparation for the trip, which I know is going to be a nightmare trip, a long trip filled with a lot of emotions and a lot of hardship. So I think I traveled in July, and I made the decision in early April. And from April to July, I was just so anxious all the time, thinking of all the details and all the possible scenarios, and will I make it home, how long it's going to take. I spoke to all my friends who traveled in the past month, so they briefed me on every single detail of their trip, so I'm prepared, no surprises. I'm prepared what time I should land, what should I pack in my bag to make it faster through the checkpoints, all the details. I also had to discuss with them and get recommendations for which car, which taxi I should take from the airport, Cairo airport to the borders, because I might end up spending days with the same taxi driver, so it had to be somebody trustworthy, recommended by someone, and then I had to arrange, let him know a month at least before that I'm coming on that day, etc. Book my ticket, and I usually book my ticket so that I arrive in Cairo early morning hours, so 1 a.m. or 2 a.m., so that I can take the taxi and drive straight direction Gaza. Of course, some people prefer to spend the night or spend a couple of days in Cairo to rest and be even more prepared, but for me, I just can't. I'm too anxious. I want to get through with this trip. So this is Cairo Airport. So I arrive at the airport. My Egyptian friend, waits for me with all what I need: food, drinks, and a SIM card for the road, so that I can communicate with her and with my family during the trip, which nobody knows how many days it's going to take. I forgot to mention an important detail. I don't inform my family that I'm traveling. They know that I'm coming in the summer, but they don't know when, and I don't let them know the time I'm flying from Vienna, because I don't know when I will reach Gaza, and I don't want my mother in particular to be worried for I don't know how many days, expecting me every day. Is she arriving today? Is she not? So I don't tell anyone except my brother and my sister, who are supposed to come and pick me up at the borders. So the taxi, we start the drive through the night, and then we arrive at the first checkpoint. These checkpoints are Egyptian army checkpoints. Before, in the past, maybe 10 years ago or so, there were not so many checkpoints. But ever since the new regime is in Egypt, for the past 10 years or so, they have tightened those security measures for Palestinians traveling. They have declared the Sinai Desert, which we have to cross, particularly the northern Sinai Desert, as a military and security zone. that's why I didn't count how many checkpoints, but so we arrive at the first point, and we arrive early. I thought I'm clever, so I'm not wasting time in Cairo. I just go straight and I gain time. But I arrive. It's the distance. Just to give you a perspective, the distance between Cairo and the borders to Gaza is 350 kilometers. So on a good day, in a normal time, it's just a 4-hour drive. But it could be, for me, it could be 4 days, a week, who knows. So we arrive at the first checkpoint, and it's around 5 a.m. And I thought, okay, we're early, that's good, we still have a long day. And this is what I see. An endless line of taxis waiting. And you just stop. The driver just stops and you wait. You don't know what you wait for, but you just wait. Hours and hours and hours. Sometimes if the driver is skillful and well connected, and also if I'm the customer willing to pay more, he could buy a place so our car could drive a couple of 100 meters to the front of these long, endless queues. And you wait in the car and you can do nothing. My brother and sister, they know that I arrived Cairo. I learned them, so they keep calling me. Where are you? What's happening? Is the car moving? And that's like every hour. And the car moves. When it moves, it really moves centimeters. You know, you hear the engine going, and it's like, okay, that's it. We're moving finally. And then it's a bloody 2 meters, and then again, and wait again. In the end, after I don't know how many hours, we made it to the checkpoint. We made it to the officer. The first check of our suitcases. My friend who traveled to Gaza from Germany a few months before me, she warned me about the first check. And she gave me instruction how to pack my bags so nothing will be lost. Nothing gets dirty, because when the bags are open, they just flip them on the floor. And she told me how to pack also my underwear. She actually told me how to pack my underwear so they are factory discreet, so that when they flip the suitcase, not everything, flies around, and everybody can have a look into my private stuff. And she also briefed me what to take and what not to take, although you can never be right about this, because it's up to the officer to decide what to confiscate and what not to confiscate from your stuff. And you can say nothing about it. You cannot even ask why. You have to swallow your tongue and to swallow your dignity as a human being and just be silent, because you are under the absolute mercy of this officer. He can tell you, if he wishes to turn back. You're not going through. That's it. My goal, I want to be home. And this was part of my psychological preparations for the trip. Control, control, control. Don't listen, don't look, just be focused. You want to reach home in the shortest time possible. I was lucky. It's funny to say that, but I was lucky, so not much of my stuff were confiscated. A deodorant spray was confiscated, a cable for my son's toy was confiscated, and a couple of toys, battery toys that I bought for my nephews. They said batteries are prohibited. Then when they're done with checking your bags, you're so happy. They tell you you have like 2 minutes, put everything, quickly, take and move to the car. So the bag that I spent like a couple of hours, packing nicely and neatly, like everything now, just put whatever in the suitcases, and the driver like, yes, quickly, we drive next. The next stop is to cross the Suez Canal to actually enter the northern Sinai. In the past, before the current regime in Cairo, we used to drive over a bridge. There's a bridge on the Suez Canal, and it would take 20 minutes to cross. Nice, normal bridge. Yeah. But the current regime decided to close the bridge for security reasons. So the only way for people to cross to northern Sinai is to take the ferry. Very old ferries from the 50s, from the time of the British people, we say. And that adds to the hardship and the waiting time to cross, because there are hundreds of cars who want to cross the bloody Suez Canal, and you have to wait for the ferry. So more hours wasted there. Eventually, we cross to the other side. You feel okay. I'm closer to Gaza. We start driving. Less than an hour later, another checkpoint. The same process. Get out of your car. Show your documents. Open your luggage. All of them. Search. Confiscate if there's anything to confiscate. Questioning. Where are you going? Although they know where we're all going. How much money do you have? How many phones do you have? Why do you have 2 phones with you? You have a laptop? You will be so unlucky if your battery ran out. Because if they cannot turn your laptop on or your tablet, it's confiscated. Because they say they need to check what's although they don't see anything. But anyway. So, and I don't know how. So the same scenario, every 45 minutes. You're exhausted. My friend gave me a lot of food and drinks, but I hardly ate anything. Just drinking. There's a knot in my stomach and thinking, when this nightmare will end? When will I get home? And my brother and sister keep calling, and I got so upset because I'm so stressed, like, stop calling me. When I'm close enough, I will let you know. It's pointless, you're stressing me even more. And on the way, we stopped there are certain cafeterias on the way where everybody stops. All people heading to Gaza stop, and you eat, you rest a bed, you pay expensive, you pay double the price of whatever you buy for food or drinks, and then you continue the drive. And on the way, we learned that it's already too late. We're not going to make it to Gaza today, which I expected, although I tried to be optimistic and said maybe I'm going to be one of the lucky ones who will cross in one day. But the driver said, no, it's too late. We will not make it because the last checkpoint closes at 5 p.m. Also in the past, before the current regime, the borders used to be open 24 hours. So, what's going to happen now? We reach Al-Arish. Al-Arish is the last Egyptian town or city before the borders with Gaza, with Palestine. It's about 45 kilometers away from Gaza, so I'm so close. I felt so happy reaching there, okay, because then the worst and the worst is behind. I'm so close, only 45 kilometers to go. When you reach Al-Arish, you're not the only one. There are hundreds of taxis and buses. So spend it in the few hotels that are in Al-Arish. Or you can rent a cabin on the beach. If you don't have money and you're not lucky, you spend the night in your taxi. Or rent an apartment if there's an apartment available. I couldn't get a place in a hotel. I didn't want to spend the night in a cabin on the beach because I felt that would be unsafe. I was too worried. And I said, okay, we'll spend it in the taxi. But then my driver was so nice and said, no, you traveled such a long road, you're coming all... He knew that I didn't rest in Cairo. I just came straight. So he said, come, my sister has a room. Come to her house and don't worry. He was trying to not to make me worried because I was conscious of, I don't know, maybe living in the West for a long time, I was very conscious of my security as a woman traveling alone without a man. So he said, not my house, my sister's house. She has a room, you can sleep, and tomorrow, first thing in the morning, at 6 a.m., we drive to the border, to the Rafah crossing. So we arrive, he tries to be nice and offers us food, but again, I can't eat. I just drink. And this is a picture of my kids sleeping on the roof of that house. I couldn't sleep. Maybe I slept just an hour or so, but I wanted the time to pass very quickly so we can drive and reach Gaza. It's just too much. So at 6 a.m. we're ready and we go. We pass the last checkpoint, luckily easily, and we arrive at Rafah crossing, the famous Rafah crossing. So this is the Egyptian side. I'm at the borders. Remember, I left at 6 a.m. And it's only 45 kilometers to Gaza, so an hour maximum. Arrive at this gate, which I hate so much, and all Gazans hate so much. I call it the gate of hell, because of the hell of the trip that we have to make. Because you see that this gate controls your future sometimes. If it opens, you can go home and be with your family. If it doesn't, then you turn back. And a lot of people were turned back. I arrive and I see the same scene. There are hundreds of cars waiting. So you quickly offload your suitcases. I quickly pay the driver. His mission is over. Now it's up to me. There's no queue, of course. It's chaos. We arrive early. We arrive at before 7 p.m. But they don't open before 9 officially. But maybe 10, maybe 11. It depends. Depends on the workers there, what they decide. So we wait. We wait again. And it's hot. It's July. So it's almost 40 degrees. From the early hours, it's very hot. And there's nothing. You're in the sun. You wait for this gate of hell to open. And when it's open, everybody starts pushing because you want to be there first. In this area, I call it's no man's zone. It's no humanity zone. It's no dignity zone. You are stripped of your humanity, literally. You yourself. All you think, I have to cross this gate. I don't care who's next to me, I don't care who's around me, I don't care about all these people, it's about me. This is the kind of person you turn. You cross, aisles allowed in, they check. Ironically, I have an Austrian passport. And everywhere in the world, this makes traveling easier. Also in the Arab country, it makes it very, very easy. But not there. It makes it complicated. I don't have to show the passport. They don't care what passport you have. They want to see my Palestinian ID, my Gaza ID. If I have it, I pass. If I don't have it, I don't pass. Because only Palestinians are allowed to go into the big prison of Gaza. It's not open for anyone to travel. It's not open for tourists. It's not open for anyone who has nothing to do there. They just feel like visiting Gaza. You go to Gaza if you have family there, or if you are a foreigner, you go for work. With international organizations, of course, and that's it. So, I hold on to my ID. Say, yeah, I have it. Let me pass. And then you have to walk from this gate until the arrival hall. This arrival hall, it's quite a walk. You have to drag the bags, and then this is almost the last stage. I arrive in this arrival hall, and this is what I see: hundreds of people waiting again with their luggages. What we have to do at this stage, at this borders, is basically just stamp the passport that we're exiting Egypt. It's just a stamp. And wait. I have to give my passport to the officer and then wait for my passport to be stamped, for my name to be called. You have hundreds of people talking, buzzing, and I'm anxious that they might call my name and I don't hear it, so I try to be as close as possible to the counter. I don't want to go anywhere. I just keep an eye on my luggage. I don't eat again. I drink very little because I don't want to go to the bathroom, and maybe they call my name and I don't hear it. And then wait. Long hours. And they don't call my name. It's noon, it's afternoon, it's early evening. They don't call my name, and there's still a lot of people. I call my brother and say, I'm in. I'm here, but I don't know when I will leave. They have to know because they have to drive from Gaza City to the borders, and it's about an hour drive. So they also need to know so they know when to drive to pick me up or wait for me until I come home. So this is again another picture from the hall, just luggages, hundreds of luggages, hundreds of people. You see children sleeping on the floor, elderly also. And in the end, I gave my passport after so many hours. And I learned that also one of the reasons that I had to wait so many hours is that because I presented a foreign passport. So all foreign passports they put aside until they have someone who can read them and can enter them into the system. So it's the one place where my Austrian passport doesn't help actually. And then finally, when they give you the passport, I felt I could breathe. It was like, finally, I'm getting home. Of course, they stop you on the way. You have to take a bus, literally for 200 meters. You can't meters, you take the bus. Again, you have to pay more fees. And at that point, it was like, take everything. Okay, take even my luggage. Take all the money I have. Just let me on the bus. I want to go home. And then we crossed. That's it. I have my luggage made into the bus after I paid the tickets for the luggage and for the bus. These 200 meters, another black gate of hell opens. And then I see this. Arrival hall. Ahlan wa sahlan. Welcome. It's Gaza. Next, please. And I have tears in my eyes, but I'm still stressed, but it's much better. I'm home. I know now it's easy. The worst is behind. I arrive at this is the Palestinian side of the borders. This is the Rafah crossing Palestinian side. Nice hall, clean, everything organized. We're welcomed by the young people working there. Welcome home, they said. The check of the bag, the stamping of the passport takes like 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Checking the bag just routinely, very quick. You go through the customs. Here you see it's neat and clean and really organized. People, very, very nice. Nothing confiscated. No custom tax paid. And then these are the counters to stamp the passport. And then I made the last call. My brother and sister, they couldn't wait. When I called it from the Egyptian side, and they traveled to wait me on the other side. They said, it doesn't matter, we could wait for hours, but we know that you're coming out eventually. I leave the arrival hall, and I'm greeted with this. The I Love Gaza sign. I take another taxi just to be outside the gate, the Palestinian gate, where my brother and sister wait. And I break down. I break down in tears. I scream and shout at them and swear at them. I was like, I'm not going to come here again. This bloody trip you make me go through, I blame them. Of course, it's not their fault. They told me not to come. They said, we told you not to come. You wanted to come. I said, yeah, because I miss you. I haven't seen you for 8 years. And we all start crying. I'm emotionally drained, physically exhausted, but happy. I made it home. I'm with my brother and sister. I'm going home to my mother, who doesn't know that I'm coming today, and we're thinking how not to shock her so she doesn't have a heart attack. And I always tell my brother when he picks me up, there are 2 roads to get from Rafah in the southern Gaza to Gaza City in the north. The main road that goes through all the towns and cities in the Gaza Strip, and the beach road. I love the beach road because I'm emotionally connected to Gaza, the sea. So I always tell them, the beach road, please. I want the sea to be the first thing I see, although it was night. So I remember I left Al Arish at 6 p.m. I arrived Gaza borders at 10:30 p.m. So for a distance of 45 kilometers, I had to travel for 17 hours, almost. And on the way, I see this sign, which is iconic for every Gazan. It says, "Welcome to Gaza." And then I you really feel, okay, I'm home. I arrive home. Of course, my mother is shocked, and then she's angry. Why you didn't tell me that you're arriving? Every time you do the same. I didn't cook anything for you, but then, yeah. And then all the pain of the trip and the anxiety and everything, after a rest and some food, and seeing the whole family and how happy they are to see me, how happy I am to be home, everything is forgotten. This nightmare trip, I forget. And now I'm home, I enjoy with my family. But the holidays, we all know holidays pass very quickly, especially if they're good. So time flies and it's time to leave again. And usually, I was there for 3 weeks only. So a week before departure, I started preparing myself. The trip to leave Gaza is not as complicated, it's a one-day trip, so it's not several days. So it took me 3 days to get to Gaza. My friend who traveled after me, a week after me, she was much more unlucky than me. She spent a whole week on the road. She had to spend 4 days in Al-Arish before the borders were open, because they got closed for I don't remember what reason. So she had to wait for the borders to close. So altogether it took her 1 week from Vienna to Gaza. I was lucky, just 3 days. I left Vienna Saturday. We arrived in Gaza Monday night. So a week before departure, I start psychologically preparing myself. It's over. I don't show it to anybody. I try to enjoy the last days, which usually are hectic because I want to do so many things. The time home is always very limited. You want to see so many people, want to do many things, especially after not being home for so many years. But I don't show that I'm actually weeping inside because I'm going to leave again. Pack the bags, buy all the souvenirs and the foods my mother prepares and the spices and everything she insisted to take with me. And then it's time to leave. My brother books a taxi, and it's again we have to leave very early, so 6 a.m. We have to drive to the borders, the Palestinian borders this time. And the moment of goodbye comes, and I think we all hate moments of goodbyes, but in Gaza it's a bit much more intense. So everybody's crying, not me. Everybody's crying. My parents, my sister, my brothers, my nephew and nieces, everybody's crying, as if it were a funeral. And I try to joke with them. It's like, come on, stop it. I'm going to come. I'm going to come again. I'm going to come next summer. I promise you, I'm going to come next summer. I don't care about this trip. I'm going to come. If I can come earlier, I will come. But they continue to cry. I get into the taxi, and as the taxi drives, I look behind, and I see my mother, my sisters. They just wave goodbye and cry. And when I make sure that they can no longer see me, I start crying. I start weeping. And I don't stop all the way to the borders. It's about 45-minute trip. My two brothers in the car, they say nothing. They know I have to cry. Everybody in the car is sad, again as if we're going to a funeral, or as if I'm going to my death. I have to go back to my life here, but I don't want to leave home. We arrive at the borders, a lot of people, but this time I don't have to worry because I have my 2 brothers who will take care of everything, watch my bags, get me food if I want, even do the paperwork. I just have to show my face to the officer to stamp my passport. So it's much easy. But I'm sitting there waiting for the gate to open because it could take hours also, and it doesn't depend on the Palestinians, it depends on the Egyptian side. They give them the instruction what time to open the borders and start letting people in. I sit there and watch everybody around me all getting ready to have the same trip, but I feel lifeless. I'm there and I'm not there. I don't want to leave. And I wish, there's a part of me that wishes that the borders would close now. There's something, some bombardment or something that they close and I don't have to travel. They have to send me back to Gaza. That's my emotional self talking. But my rational self is like, you have to leave. You have plane tickets that you don't want to lose. And then, so you see these, this is the Palestinian gate, and the check is quite easy. And comes and then I wait for my turn. They call my name. My brother comes. I'm still sitting there waiting. My brother comes. They say, Rania, Rania, yalla, yalla. They called your name, quick. Like, I feel my feet heavy. I don't want to go. It's like, are you sure? Are you sure it's my name? Where are my bags? So you have no time to think. Yalla, quick, because there are other people waiting. You can't waste time. And then I start crying again, hysterically. And then I'm in the car. My brother goes with me next to the car as far as he can get and try to make me laugh and tell me jokes and take pictures of me that I didn't want to show because I look horrible crying. And makes jokes. It's like, stop it, you're gonna come, we're gonna be fine. He said that, I didn't say anything, but he knows what goes in my head. So we're gonna be fine, don't worry. And I can't say anything. I'm suffocating in my tears. I only say, inshallah. He said, you're gonna come again soon, we're gonna see each other again. I said, yeah, inshallah. Why do you think all the crying? It's not because I miss him too much. It's because me and him and everyone in the family, we know what goes in our head, that every time we say goodbye, it might be the last time. It's a high possibility when you're a Palestinian from Gaza. I could spend another 8 years before going home, or longer. The borders could close. Another war breaks in. Something might happen to them. I lose them. So all this goes through my head, and that's why the crying. Every time I leave Gaza, I never know when I'll go back. I never know when I'll see my family again. Every time I tell them goodbye, somewhere in my brains, I tell myself, this might be the last time you hug your mother. This might be the last time I hug my grandmother. And it was indeed. I lost my grandmother. During the 8 years, I couldn't go home, so I couldn't say goodbye. I couldn't be at her funeral. And this is why I cry, and this is why we all cry. This was in 2021. I didn't go home the following year. I planned to go home the year after, but it didn't work. And now for the past 11 months there is a genocide in Gaza. And my whole family is displaced in southern Gaza. And my worst nightmare has come true. Now I really don't know when I will be back home. Now I really don't know if I will see my family. This is my family home. This is how it looks like. It has been bombarded. And this is the last picture we got of it a few months ago, so I don't know if it's still standing. And this is a picture of my family from last summer. I don't care if I have to go through that nightmare of a trip again and again. If it takes me 3 days or a week or even a month to travel home, I don't care now. I'm ready. I just hope and pray every day and every moment that I can go home and I could see my family again. Thank you for listening.